I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. I'll make a motion. The Board of Commissioners approves the November 14th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
All right. Got the prosecutor's
Prosecutor.
office.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning,
Connie
Ms.
Lewandowski.
I didn't do it.
It's a pleasure to
Investigate.
be here. Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to speak with you today. I'd like to begin by recognizing and honoring the tremendous contributions that our retiring prosecutor has made, Victor Vellucci. He has served this county for 30 years with integrity and dedication. So we wish to honor him. He certainly has been the cornerstone of our justice system and has set a high standard of excellence, and we're greatly appreciative of his leadership. And with that, I want you all to know that I am very honored to be your prosecutor-elect. I pledge, thank you. I pledge to bring a fresh perspective and vision to this office and to build on that solid foundation that Prosecutor Vellucci has done so far. Today, I respectfully come before you requesting that you continue to invest in our office. As you know, the prosecutor's office is the front line for defense in ensuring justice and safety within our community. We handle a significant number of cases every year. Statistically speaking, our judges are the highest caseload in the state of Ohio within all 88 counties. It certainly is compelling. And as you know, this has been the case for multiple years. So over the past 4 years, our caseload has doubled. This surge is especially pronounced in two of the most complex and emotionally demanding areas of law, that being special victim cases, along with homicides and violent major crimes. And to address these issues effectively, we're asking for a budget increase to fund 4 additional seasoned prosecutors, 2 for a designated SVU unit, and 2 for homicides and major violent crimes. Certainly, these types of cases require not only legal expertise, but also the ability to handle intense pressure, trauma as well with our victims.
Sorry, Connie. The first two, what was the unit?
The SVU unit.
What is that?
That is special victims units.
Okay.
They handle child abuse, rape, they handle elder abuse, theft of the elderly, animal cruelty, any victims that are vulnerable.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. And so these types of cases are emotionally taxing, and they provide attorneys that are extremely experienced. Unfortunately, our office has faced a bit of a turnover in recent years, with many seasoned prosecutors retiring. Our current staff is younger and they are talented, but certainly they lack the depth of experience needed for high-stake cases. So additionally, I'd like to also compare to our neighboring prosecutors' offices. Our staff is a bit smaller, we're paid less, and we're tasked with substantially higher caseloads. I provided you with a book outlining these concerns,
Yes.
along with statistics to support the overwhelming docket that we're faced with. I'm hoping that you've had an opportunity to review those. Okay, very good. Now, I would also like to bring up that unlike many neighboring counties, our prosecutors are on call 24/7. We are the legal advisor for 16 police departments, and oftentimes we're called out to crime scenes and that are, in the middle of the night to assist investigations on big cases, as well as be available to write up and draft search warrants. So the standards are significant, and just like cops, you know, we're married to our jobs, and our duty to this community is endless. So also, I'd like to bring up the fact that investing in experienced prosecutors will not only improve our ability to deliver justice, but also retain talent and also reduce burnout and bring our office in line with neighboring jurisdictions. This request is not just about numbers, it's about the safety and well-being of our community. It's also about the people we serve, especially our victims of violent crimes. They deserve a system that effectively is equipped to fight for them. So I humbly urge that you approve this critical funding increase and support our efforts to bring justice and to have a community of excellence for our victims and for our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I've indicated today or the book that I've provided, I'd be glad to answer those.
I have a comment.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mr. Vigalucci came on when I was already here as a law enforcement officer, and what we had prior with issues, as we all know, I couldn't have been prouder of that guy. He was always available, always contactable, and during my tenure as a law enforcement officer, his decisions were always spot on, and they always went through. And quite frankly, I'm going to miss the guy. We're very happy and proud of you,
Thank you
for where you're going to be, and I'm sure that not only will it continue, but it will prosper under your tutelage. So I just wanted you to know that publicly, that I personally am 100% behind not only you, but your prosecutors.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I would just like to add that, you know, we're here to help you as much as we can. We've always had a good relationship with the prosecutor's office, and if we've ever had any issues, we've been able to work through, and Vic's been very instrumental in that. And also, I just want to tell you, I was very impressed with your little book that you gave us, because that was amazing to see all the cases and really help someone that doesn't have a law enforcement background truly understand the depth of your department. So I just want to congratulate you again for being our incoming prosecutor, and you got big shoes to fill, but yes. I think you're the girl to do it, and we look forward to seeing what the future carries for the prosecutor's office. And like I said, we're here to help in any way that we can. And so congratulations, and thank you again for providing that very detailed information.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I had to read it to her, but
Put it in Braille for me.
It was nap time.
Connie, we definitely welcome you to your new job. Vic was always there, no matter which one of us called. He always
Yes.
made time for us to, if we wanted to do something one-on-one or get information. So we look forward to having you as our prosecutor, and good luck. And you have, as Mike said, very large shoes to
Yes, I
fill,
do.
and we look forward to you growing in this job. Thank you, both the ladies, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as always, good to see you, Lori.
Yes.
Now there's a staple that's been there.
That's a nice word to call you.
Yes,
Staple.
that's been
I've been
there.
called worse.
He's not.
A solid figure in the
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes,
Not
thank you.
sure
She's
I
our
agree.
thesaurus.
yeah, I'm not sure how to use that.
Well, thank you both.
All right,
Thank you both for coming in.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. Good to
Thank
see
We
you.
appreciate
Good
your
to see
time.
All right,
Thank you so
bye-bye,
much.
guys. Have a good day.
Very nice meeting you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is the Board of Election? I know we got OSU Extension. Is there anyone else coming today with you?
No, I have a public comment form, but
Oh, you have a public, okay, I was thinking you were, I apologize.
no.
Yeah, you wanna give that to Cassidy? She can get some copies.
Why don't you
for
do
us?
those couple of miscellaneous,
I'm gonna step out and
We're-
talk with Jackie for a minute.
10 minutes,
Okay. Miscellaneous, okay.
Miscellaneous, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if we
No.
were recessing.
No,
Apologize.
no, we've only got 10 minutes.
Okay, the Board of Commissioners acknowledges correspondence from the Auditor of State's Office regarding the audit release for Solid Waste Management District Transfer Station on November 18th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Make a motion, the Board of Commissioners acknowledges correspondence from the Auditor of State's Office regarding the audit release for Portage County on November 18th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners signs a letter of support for funding that will support state elections infrastructure to be sent to the office of Congressman Dave Joyce.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners acknowledges correspondence from the Ohio Department of Health regarding the maximum financial liability for the Complex Medical Health Program for the year 2025 on October 31st, 2024.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners signed the application and certificate for payment for the final payment, $78,582.47 for the Manaway Water Emergency Interconnect payment to Pollard Land Services, Inc., as presented by the Water Resources Department.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of November 12th, 2024 certificate of the county auditor that the total appropriations from each fund do not exceed the official estimate of resources as presented by the Portage County Auditor's Office.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners received the November 18th, 2024 correspondence from the Portage County Sheriff's Office, including the monthly record of proceedings and transactions for October 2024 in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 325.07.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
In accordance with ORC Section 325.07, the Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of the Portage County Sheriff's Transporting Report for October 2024 as presented by the Portage County Sheriff's Office.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of kennel disposition report and intake report for November 4th, 2024 through November 10th, 2024 as presented by the Chief Dog Warden Dave McIntyre.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of the kennel disposition report and intake report for November 11th, 2024 through November 17th, 2024 as presented by the Chief Dog Warden Dave McIntyre.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of the November 18th, 2024 journal entry 2024 JMX 05 from Judge Patricia Smith, court ordering $3,032,906 to be dispersed in the Portage County Juvenile Court Fund 570 for the fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners acknowledge receipt of November 18th, 2024 journal entry 2024 MC 024 from Judge Patricia J. Smith, court ordering $1,644,872 to be dispersed in the Portage County Probate Court Fund 560 for the fiscal year 2025.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners acknowledge correspondence from the Ohio 9/11 Program Office on November 18th, 2024.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners authorize the issuance of a county procurement card to be held in the name of the Portage County Regional Airport and also being issued in the name of Director Robert Hardigan to be used for work-related expenses in accordance with Section 301.29 of the Ohio Revised Code and the Portage County Procurement Card Policy for Department 070.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tony.
Yes. Is there anybody out there in board elections?
No, not yet.
No.
No?
You wanna go, Jackie, before we can,
Do you have-
or do you need to go after? Oh, wait, we got the Guardian.
Yeah, I have kind of a recap.
Okay.
Okay, we'll
Okay.
wait. Hi, Megan, is anyone else coming with you today?
Candy Burbick, on our board is gonna be here. I believe that's the only additional person. I'm
Okay.
expecting. Thank you.
Public comment.
Oh, do you wanna take public comment?
Yeah. Young lady, if you'd like, do you have the public comment?
Carrie, if you'd like to do your public comment now, okay, you come on up here, you can sit back there, whichever.
Come up here.
If you tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Carly Riggets. I'm a community organizer and a resident of Portage County. And I just wanted to talk really quickly about, I know we're approaching the time of year where budgets are decided, obviously. And I wanted to express my concern about increasing the budget of the Sheriff's Department. We have seen repeatedly that the current sheriff and his department have discriminated against our Black community members. There was a report done by the Portage NAACP that reported that Black people are arrested at nearly 5 times the rate we should expect to see them arrested at in Portage County, and that was done in November 2023 under the current Sheriff's Department. We have also, he's requested an increase in funding over and over again, and I think it would be a fiscal irresponsibility to continue funding a department that has repeatedly targeted our marginalized communities, and I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board.
Thank you for your time. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming
Thank
in.
you for coming
Yeah,
Appreciate
of
it.
course.
Do you want me to go since we have some time?
Sure.
So, back in May of May 23rd, I'm sorry. May 23rd, I talked to the board a little bit about the revised 911 committee. And at that time, we talked about the board now has the responsibility to appoint 2 members to this new committee. It must be 1 board member or designee from the board and 1 elected official anywhere in the county. It could be any elected official. Mayor, trustee, sheriff's department, whatever. Yeah, okay, so.
Or like the prosecutor's office too.
It could
Any
be a
of the elected,
prosecutor,
yeah.
any, it could be auditor, any position you would like to
Serve on the board.
appoint. So, we are now behind. So I'm respectfully asking you to give me some ideas as to who you would like to appoint. If I may recommend, Commissioner Tinlin, with his background, would be a great representative of the board.
Mike, would you be willing to do that?
I would. I've
Okay.
just read the new sections of the law, and it's pretty intense. It's kind of getting pretty involved than it was before.
Yeah,
They've added
which
a
is
lot.
good. It needed
It
to
is,
be.
because calls are getting lost, and that's what they're trying to not let happen, so.
So, and then we need to recommend or try to appoint someone from the elected officials.
Any elected official. They are also trying to get more of a presence with townships, but they're taking care of that.
Yeah, because there's a township,
Yeah,
I
that's
think, represented
They've added that,
and
right.
a municipality.
Mhm.
So we need another elected official. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I think that we have Kent and Streetsboro and that already standing
And
up, but
Brimfield.
I'd like to see some place like Garrettsville, or, they don't do their dispatch, but they also have to oversee the 911 system to make sure it's operating from their residence, so.
Or would we look at someone like the largest township, like Brimfield? I think that
Brimfield
largest-
already has
Yeah,
one.
Nick
Brimfield already
is-
has a spot?
Nick is already, Nicola is.
Is the representative for the
Yep, the
township?
townships are taking care
Or
of it.
you know who I was thinking about, is maybe Connie, because she deals with all, I don't
Yeah,
know
and-
if she
and-
would be open to it because she may have her plate full,
That's
but
what I was thinking too.
why don't we ask her first and then go with Plan B?
Yeah, because this
What
is
do you
something, I just feel it's something where you can't say, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to be on there, and then not show, because it's important. And now they're requiring reports to be sent down a lot more than they used to. It used to be just a year, an annual report. Now they're setting dates and wanting things quicker. So, yeah, I think she'd be awesome, but the problem I have is she's gonna be busy for the first couple
What
of
about
years.
Well,
Mayor
that's
Patrick?
I say we ask her first, and then if not, then
Yeah.
maybe.
Mayor Patrick?
I just feel that, you know, we need to stretch out a little bit and.
But you said
Yeah.
Garrettsville.
Right, right.
Do you want Mayor Patrick though?
Yeah, if, that's what I would think.
Can we ask Connie first?
Oh, absolutely.
And then,
Absolutely.
and then we'll go to Plan B, if
Yeah,
that's okay.
absolutely.
I think that's a good idea. I was just thinking of Connie, well, I thought about her last night, and then when she said, you know, she deals with all the departments
Yep.
and yours, I was thinking, if she would have
Yep.
time as
Okay.
elected official.
So, Commissioner Tinlin and I will reach out to, the prosecutor's office, and then if Connie is too busy or unable to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway,
and we
Then I
understand
will reach
that,
out
and
to
that's-
Garrettsville. Mayor
Patrick,
Patrick?
yep.
Okay,
I think it's a
thank
good
you very
idea.
much.
I think he'd be a good fit. I
Mhm.
really do.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you. That was
We're
painless.
perfectly on time, ladies. Come on up, you're up.
Good morning, Board of Elections.
Morning, ladies.
Oh, good
Good morning, ladies. How are you?
We're doing.
Good.
How are you all?
Excellent.
Good.
Kinda all over
Whomever's
the
gonna
place.
start, you're up.
All right. Thank you for taking time to meet with us. We appreciate that. I know you're busy. We're here to talk about what our proposed budget is, and obviously this is a budget that was approved by our board members. October, first May, and then some changes were made in October. I think it's important to note that we are on a 4-year cycle. So our budgets vary from year to year. Obviously, a presidential election, our budgetary needs are more. You saw the lines and all the people.
Kept you busy for a few days.
We were, yeah,
Just a
we-
little.
right, right.
little.
Many of us have worked every day for the last 30 days because that's what the job requires. So you'll note that the budget request for 2025 is 17% less than the request for 2024 because we're in an off-year election. Our budgetary needs are not the same. And I think it's important to keep that in mind, that we are on every year is a different year. 2026 we'll be asking for more money than we did in 2025, simply because it's a gubernatorial election and more people and all of that sort of fun. The increases that we have asked for are in a number of areas. One is elections worker salaries. So election worker salaries pays for our poll workers. It pays for all of the people that come in and work in our office to help, because we cannot do the job without them. It's just not enough hours in the day. The dollar amount increase, it's in Munis, it's a 17% decrease, okay? But we're asking for an increase over what our budget would have been 4 years ago to provide an increase to poll workers.
What is it now, and where do you wanna go?
The poll worker pay?
The poll worker, that's what you're speaking
So,
of now.
yes,
right?
so
Okay.
poll worker pay is $20 a person for training. If they're a regular poll worker, it's $130 for the day, and if,
Terry, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you just state for the record, the $20 is for training?
Yes.
How many hours of training do they go through for $20?
it depends on the
Okay.
type of class that they take. So if they are in a specialized class, those classes have a tendency to run an hour and a half to 2 hours. If they're in a regular class, those are 3 to 3.5 hours long. We have started doing beginner classes for people who've never worked for us, because there's a lot of terminology that we throw around and it's very basic. That can be 4 hours. Obviously, the time of the classes will vary depending upon the questions that are being asked by the attendees. The regular poll workers are paid $130 for working on election day. and voting location managers are paid $135. And that is because they need to come and pick up equipment the Saturday before the election. They are essentially in charge of their precinct, they make assignments and that sort of thing, so there are additional responsibilities. What our board has approved is increasing the amount of poll worker pay. So what people are paid on election day, which is a very long day, they have to appear at 5:45 in the morning. Polls close at 7:30. However, if there's are people in line, much like you saw here on Saturday, or Sunday before the election. Polls and closed at 5 o'clock. We were there till 8:30 voting people because there were that many people in line. The same applies to election workers. Once the last voter votes, they also have to do paperwork. Just so how many ballots were used, what are the report on the DS200 site. So there's paperwork that happens. And then for the voting location manager and the return judge, they have to come back to our office, because they're a bipartisan team, bring the equipment back to our office. So, our board has approved a budgetary increase to pay the poll workers who work on election day an additional $10. So that would be $140 and $145. We're not asking for an increase in the training dollar amount, mostly because that would be a huge number, because we train, so we need 519 poll workers every election day, right? That's a lot of people. But we train somewhere between 600 and 800 people. And so it's a smaller amount, it's just, I think it's potentially a larger chunk of money. So that's what the proposal is. And that would be the 10% increase is a 7% increase in what they are currently getting paid, which is, whatever, a large percentage. Any questions about that before I move on?
No,
I just can't believe that number.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Wow.
Which number?
The dollar amount.
No, the,
How many
How many?
people we need?
There's a lot of them.
Every
How many poll
election.
stations or polling stations?
There's 129 precincts, 51 polling locations. But the issue and why we have to train so many additional individuals is because a lot of our regular workers, they will call off, whether it be they're having surgery, a family emergency, a medical issue, they're out of town. There's many times we start training and we already know that we have 150 of our regular poll workers who have called off before we've even begun training for that election.
And then you gotta train the alternates, that if someone does call out, they're on standby.
Right.
We call it our cushion. We need to have at least, we shoot for 200 extra people, 100 Ds, or Ds, 100 Rs.
North.
So, so we have a good pool, because we don't have any idea what's gonna happen election morning. All kinds of crazy, we could write a book
well,
about the
personally,
crazy
I
things.
don't think that's a big ask. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? It's not even though it's 7%, it's not a huge ask. And the people that do it, they do it because they want to do it. But I think just by doing this a little bit, it just shows that we do appreciate them. And like I said, they're working for peanuts. I mean, on training, they're working on an average of $6 to $5 an hour to come and train. Alone, if you're the poll worker, like manager, you have to come in an extra day and stuff. I just think that even though it doesn't seem like a huge ask, I just think that it would show that we are at least appreciate them and that we're thinking about them. and like I said, and most people do it because they wanna do it, they wanna do their civil duty. They don't obviously do it for the money.
No.
So,
Not by any means.
Well, and to, you know, I sent a letter down to you guys.
Yes.
And we appreciate that.
Right after the election, because where I vote, there was a lot of people. And I'm gonna tell you, every poll worker in there was just happy to be there. Seriously, what time did you get here? I got here at 5:15, or I got here.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm still dreaming.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a
But
very
I'm
long
gonna
day.
tell you, that's tough, and, you know, it may be, you know, people say, well, it's only election time. Well, you know what? It's a full day for them, a full day. And then how long does it take people my age to recuperate?
well, not only that,
I'm
but
just
you know
saying.
what?
I've never.
I can't
recuperated.
sleep the night before because I'm worried I'm gonna oversleep getting up at 4 o'clock. And so, I mean, it's a very long day, and a lot of people, you know, work too. And so they've gotta get home and then, you know, get up the next day and go to work. So
Yeah,
it's a lot for a lot of people.
and it's a lot to direct for you
And even
guys.
for our seniors, you know, our
Lot.
mature audience that volunteers. Sorry, Mike and Tony. Mature audience.
So why,
If you
It's a
can
long
continue,
day.
we'll continue with your budget. We'll just,
I saw the
I'll just stop
snarls
looking.
when I said seniors.
please go.
All right, so the next item that we are asking for is an amount in the bonus line of $9,400. We had asked for bonus money for 2024 and did not receive that. And I believe that bonus dollar amount is approximately 2% of what our staff gets paid. I think the evidence is quite clear that our staff go above and beyond. We, like I said, we probably have worked 30 continuous days, holidays, Saturdays and Sundays, for the county, to serve the people who live in the county. And I think that the dollar amount that's being requested for bonuses is appropriate and has been approved by our board.
How many people do you have as
So there
your
are
staff?
8 full-time staff members, and then we generally have what we call full-time, part-time people, and there are approximately 4 of them. They are essentially our first line of defense. If we get, as we did this year, we got petitions for the constitutional amendment that was on the ballot. So I don't remember, I think we got 15,000 signatures that we had to check in a very short period of time, less than a week. And so we call them and they come in and they help us. They are also the people who work in primarily in absentee area. They started working the second week of September, and the last day that they worked would have been, what is today? Thursday. Would have been Tuesday. So because we use them for various things. They're familiar with our systems. It's not, there are some jobs we can't just throw any random person into. They have to be.
So when you do that, there has to be an R and a D whenever.
Yeah,
so
yes.
Wherever there's
Yeah,
one,
so
there's
we-
another.
Yeah, that's why there's 4. There's
Okay,
2
right.
Ds and 2 Rs.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Moving on to other increase, I'm
Terry,
so
I
sorry.
have a question. No, that's okay. So the $9,400, how many people is that spread across?
So it would be 12.
Okay, so that would be about $783.33 a piece then, is what I average. I just wanted to make sure. That's what I
Yeah.
had, 8 full-time and then 4 full-time, part-time.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we obviously want them to come back, because they are really the backbone of our people that help us in the office, and so we like to, keep them happy with things other than chocolate and whatever else we do. Moving on to the lease line, which is, the current budget is $5,000, cause our only, for most of 2024, the only thing we are leasing is our photocopier. But we entered into a managed print agreement with Visual Edge. And so that is an additional, whatever, $6,000 annually to pay. And so what that does for us, or for the county, is it removes the printer issues that we have off of IT. So there were a lot of times that we have issues with our printers. We would reach out to the IT department to come and help us out. We have been advised that printers are really not their specialty. And so,
I think you lost me here. So
Yep.
do you wanna change the budget of 5,000
to 11,000,
to 11,000?
yes. Because that's how much this managed print agreement additional is gonna cost. So that managed print agreement, in addition to covering, service calls, they don't charge us for service calls, and quite frankly, they were out of lots. It also includes toners. And we probably used, from September to now, we probably used 15 toners total. So it will be a cost reduction, potentially, but it's too early for us to determine. But that's why we need that lease line increase.
If you have that big problem with copiers and stuff, is it because they're old, or just because you crank them up so much?
So we use them a lot, and so we try and use our printers, because mostly what I'm talking about are printers.
Okay.
We use our printers until they die, and sometimes they're gasping before they die, and so we try to make the best use of the county money, but we make a ton of copies. We're very much a
How
paper.
does a printer last longer than a year?
I'm sorry?
Does one of your printers last more than a year? So an election like this,
Sure.
I mean, you're cranking up a lot, and
Sure.
they only have so many copies they could print.
Yeah, so no, they are multi-year.
Okay.
And I believe, if my memory serves, this agreement with Visual Edge is, I think, a 5-year agreement. If during that period of time one of the copiers breaks, they'll replace it at no additional cost. And they're very timely.
The equipment as well.
So the
from
lease
them.
is actually for the equipment, but the cost of the lease includes
Includes,
the
yeah.
toners
Service.
and
Oh,
service.
really?
Yes.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
Is it for 5 years or 63 months? Reason I ask,
I
because
think
I
it's 5
always
years,
have to
yeah.
keep my
5 year.
equipment modern, and they always do like an extra, it's a weird term.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was asking, and I've used different copier, it's always like a 63 term.
Yeah.
to me.
I
was-
haven't looked at the
That's
documents
okay.
in a while. I think it's 5 years.
Just trivia.
So, the other in line, so the projected budget under professional and technical services is currently $70,000. We would like that to be increased to $110,000. The Ohio Secretary of State's office, per directive, requires that we have an annual pen test done. Penetration test to make sure that our systems are safe from essentially the outside world. And that is going to be an additional $60,000+, which is why we're asking for the additional money to cover that. We don't have an option as to whether or not we do it, and we have used the same company for several years. We need to, in order to have a pen test be valuable, we need to use a different company. And the company that was recommended to us, I think what's the word I'm looking for? Not the voucher, the quote. The quote was for $65,000, so.
And that's once a year you have to do that?
Yeah. And obviously, we do that in conjunction with the IT department, because they need to let them in, because our system is secure, but we need to make sure that that continues. I think certainly, last but not least, we wanna talk about compensation for our staff. You all received a letter from our board in May that delineated the reasoning behind which they made their ruling or their decision to request a 6% increase in our salaries. Per the email that we got from Jackie Petty, it would appear that the increase is going to be 1.25%, which is insufficient. And I'm gonna stop there because my mother always taught me not to say anything mean. Because I don't think there is an understanding of the amount of work that our staff does. And we do as much as we can to keep their spirits up and provide them with things on Administrative Assistance Day and that sort of thing. But if they look at the cost of living increases over the last 4 or 5 years, their compensation has not kept up with
Nobody
just
has.
that.
Yeah.
But it's a small percentage of that.
If I could ask one question, would be, and every time the sheriff's department wants something, we go to other sheriff's departments.
Sure.
Anybody else. Is there a comparison of pay? Because you guys, whatever county it is,
Yes.
you guys are all working really the same kind of hours and have the same.
Well, not necessarily. If you look at like counties, there aren't very many. Obviously, the people who work in Cuyahoga County are compensated substantially more than we are.
So we always go to counties our size.
Like
Yes.
Greene.
Yeah, Greene County, right.
How are we?
I
you ever
don't
looked at those?
know.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know that it's what we get paid is out of line with what Greene County gets paid. That is cold comfort to our staff, because they see that prices are increasing, they see what the cost of living is for them, and what they're getting compensated for just is a problem for them.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that means that we're going to start losing people, because they can go to Summit County and make more money than they do here. And these are people, it's not like these people are sitting at a desk doing what I would consider regular work. Our jobs are very detail oriented. The public has no tolerance for mistakes by the Board of Election, nor would any of you who are elected officials tolerate those mistakes. That puts a lot of pressure on our staff. And the ridiculous calls that they get from people who don't understand what we do, who don't understand the facts as it relates to Board of Elections, is clearly inappropriate. But there's nothing that we can do to stop those calls. And they handle those calls with calm intelligence.
Good. They're doing their job. Thank you. Yeah.
We actually had to have the police officer
Really.
address an
It's sad.
issue
It's-
with
I mean-
with a person who came into our office, who made one of our staff members so afraid
Yeah.
that she ended up having to leave the office during one of our most busiest times.
Those are sad and pathetic events that happen, and hopefully there are not too many of them. So, is there anything else?
If you have
Well,
any questions.
I do.
Okay.
What is the proposed increase? Do you have a percentage?
6%.
6%? Okay, I'm sorry, I must have missed that.
I mean, if you look at it in comparison to what we asked for the poll workers, that was a 7% increase. I
Well,
believe
you guys
that
did not
our,
participate in the wage study, right? Okay.
and part of the reason for that was because we have a Democratic and a Republican office. All of our staff, our clerks, which is our 6 people, get paid exactly the same money.
You explained that to me
Yes.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes,
4.5 years
Faith
ago.
No
and
matter
I,
how
Yeah.
many years,
no
they
matter
all
how
get
many
paid the
years,
same.
because that way we don't run into situations where, well, you're favoring one party over the other, and so everybody knows that when they come in. So the wage study would not have worked for us, because that's not how that is set up.
And you explained that to me 4.5 years ago. And it is, and it really, in my little mind, should not matter if it's a D or R. Everybody's doing the same job, but appreciate that. Okay, yep, all right. All right, nothing else, Mike,
No, sir.
Sabrina? All right, thank you guys, appreciate it coming in.
Thank you.
OSU, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Sorry.
He's
right.
back.
Good here, guys.
I'm surprised they let you out twice in a couple of hours. What the heck? Good morning, how are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
First snow day?
Yeah, that was a lot. I was not anticipating this.
Do
Thank you.
not say that.
I wasn't
There's
though.
gonna be more.
I know there will, but I really didn't think it would happen now. Not this morning.
The pump is just priming.
I wasn't ready for it, but my dogs sure were.
They
They were
like first
excited.
morning? They
They
excited?
loved it, huh?
They were just getting all excited.
Whoever wants to start.
Who gets to start?
Oh, I suppose I will.
Okay.
So what we've passed out to you is just kind of a summary of our impacts for the year. The first page shows our staff that we have. We are almost fully staffed. Our office coordinator is leaving us. Unfortunately, she had decided to pursue other ventures, but we have 2 full-time educators. We have our intern Hannah and our program assistant Jill. So we are, we're excited to have at least that portion of it, running very strong and, can help us put some really good things together. Also, we have Jeannie and Jordan that are our FNEP and our SNAP educators, so the food and nutrition side of things. So they provide some really good programming for our community as well. So again, excited to have almost full staff, but pretty close. Also on the front there is just some big highlights of things that we were able to accomplish this year. We were able to get a grant, I believe, and Jill might have to help me on this one just because this happened before I had started. It was a grant with multiple counties, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was the ODE grant.
yes. So we were able to secure some funding to be able to put on some summer camps and things like that over the summer. And we were able to reach about 284 hours of programming and 142 youth throughout the summer. So that was really nice. I'll let Seth talk a little bit about his
Yeah, I think that was
emergency.
a really cool program. I think I mentioned to you guys too last time with our bovine emergency response plan. It was like Suffield, Rootstown, Marlboro. There was one other department I think Senate Representative as well. Yeah, we got a little bit over like 30 firefighters, and that was like kind of training them for in the event that any kind of like livestock trailer tips over in our county. And it's not even just because we do a lot of cattle and horses, especially. We rank 5th for horses in the county out of the entire state of Ohio. But we have a lot of cross traffic that comes through, especially from Pennsylvania out to a lot of like the markets out in like Wyoming, like Iowa, where they finish a lot of cattle. So it's a good little preparation. Suffield originally heard about the idea and wanted to know if we could do something like kind of similar to that. And we were like, actually, we have a whole program we could bring to you guys. And I think there's a lot of interest from the fire departments. There's kind of programs and anything involving agriculture that can really like help just between government agencies, and then of course the usual programming that we do. You know, your pesticide recertifications for our farmers, they have to get if they're going to apply pesticide. There's all sorts of agriculture programming, but I think that was definitely my most favorite one we did, and that was just last month too. So we're hoping to expand it to other fire departments.
How many firefighters did you?
It was a little over 30. Yeah, and then
And that
4
was the
fire
first one?
departments. Yeah, and that was the first one we had done. And it got a lot of interest. We're hoping we can also get a couple more like around Deerfield, you know, like fill the full county in. Because we do have a lot of livestock, so it's definitely an important thing to be prepared for. We do a lot of simulations, that kind of work.
Yeah.
So it's an all-day thing.
The last piece there is just talking about, again, that FNEP, the community nutrition and the SNAP Ed programs, being able to reach a little over 1,000 participants there, whether it was youth, adults, provide them some education on nutrition. And there's, inside the packet, there's a little bit more in depth about each of those things. So, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit, but, you know, some of this stuff, I know between, you know, Seth and I coming in, we've talked a little bit about some of these things, so we won't, you know, go over everything. But that first section there on 4-H, again, we shared a version of this with you guys at one point to show kind of our impacts for the year. I just tweaked it a little bit, added some things, some different programs. We really wanted to highlight some of our new stuff that we were able to do, and even what we have just started. So along with you know, our 4-H program, with the youth that participate in whether it's life skills or animal projects for the fairs, and all that stuff, we are building a really strong school outreach program and school enrichment. And a couple of those things that we were able to do this past summer, along with continued partnerships with some of the schools that we've already been able to work with, keep those things going. Jill was able to work with Southeast Schools to put together a drone program.
Careers in drones.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she was able to work with Southeast to do that. She also worked with Biomed, and I know she's working to put some more programs together for an after-school science program.
We do a lot of STEM.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of STEM.
And then our most recent project is the Why Trees Matter, which I am actually gonna let Jill talk about, because
Oh,
that one we are
me
really
too.
excited about. We just started that one.
Of course, one of the things I love the most is trees. So anytime I get to work trees into my programming, we do it. So we've been over in the historic south end of Kent, working with a committee that's been picking up and bringing gardening and things like that to the school in that district. So it's a Kent school, it's Holden Elementary. They've been getting a lot of master gardeners have been from our office, have also been going in there on a weekly basis. I think they're in almost every grade doing gardening type topics that we then turned into a 4-H program in the summertime so they could actually see the fruits of their labor. So now they've asked us to come back in and do Why Trees Matter and the importance of trees in urban neighborhoods. So we started it, I believe, 2 weeks ago, and they're learning about why trees matter to them, what they're all about. We're partnering with Davy Tree on a portion of it where they're going to come in and explain to them why trees get sick. And then they're working on, I talked to the staff just the other day, working on a tour of the new arboretum that Davy Tree is putting in over there.
The seed campus.
Right, it's very cool that I got to go to a presentation on that, and I think the kids would really benefit. They can plant that seed of a future career in forestry or like Davy careers, and just kind of let them know some of the things that they could do that actually builds up their communities. So that is an 8-week, well, it's 2 4-week programs that we'll be doing with the 5th grade, and it's our hopes to take that into the other elementary schools in Kent, and then maybe countywide if we have the staffing and we can swing it. So that was pretty exciting to me, and seeing their interest in that.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Yeah, and one of the other things that I'm kind of excited to work with some of our volunteers on, there is a 4-H Achievement Award that our 4-Hers can apply for, and it's really just showing their time spent over the years putting into their different projects and things like that. But they get to apply at the state level, and then that can in turn help them with scholarships and trips and things that they might want to attend. So I actually had a volunteer ask me, hey, can we do a workshop to help these kids write better and, put together these applications. So we actually are putting together a workshop on December 3rd in the community room across from our office. And, you know, any of the kids that are interested, even if they have no idea, you know, they've never done it before, they have no idea where to start, they can pop in, you know, we'll talk to them about the different pieces and parts of the application, and really just kind of give them an idea of, oh, you know, I guess I didn't think about I could do this with my 4-H experience and things like that. So, and we're hoping that, you know, that'll get some good traction and, you know, we can continue to grow that. So that was something exciting to look forward to here in the winter yet too. Other things we have in here, this little pull-out piece, again, is just more on the nutrition side of things. I'm not gonna go over that too in depth, because honestly, that's not my forte. But those are 2 other additional programs that we do provide at Extension. And then Seth can just chat a little bit about his Ag and Natural Resources side.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we already covered the bovine emergency response training. Definitely would like to expand that to other fire departments. The big thing we're at a little bit over 100 farm visits in the last year. That's about 10% of all the farms in the county. That's personally what I love the most about this job. It's kind of targeted, applied to a specific farm. So we can so when a farmer calls me, it's, you know, it's gonna be, what's this disease on my crop? Why are my yields low? How are my stands looking? And, you know, and then the service I provide is I'm going out there, I'm giving them like more of a catered plan. So if it's like, you know, where are my forages lagging? Okay, well here's where we can start with like a soil test, right? Our office offers that. And then from there we go with like recommendations from it. But the key part is that we're supposed to be able to like going out there and it's completely free, right? Because their tax dollars cover it. So like we have a lot of, you know, like for instance, I love like Deerfield Ag. I really trust them a lot. And I really like the work they do and they're a great partner. But then there's also, you get sometimes people from aren't even from the county where they might give planting recommendations I think are a little bit more trying to sell a product versus what's actually the research backed, what's best for that farmer. So we're kind of supposed to be that trusted source. That's usually what a lot of my calls end up being. So farm visits are something I definitely want to hit a lot. I'm planning on hitting them a lot this winter. I'm hoping for at least another 50, especially with pesticide research coming up. We're just supposed to be that kind of like trusted source where we're like a second opinion. And like if farmers are saying, hey, this guy's telling me I should plant more to increase my yields, and I can say, well, that's actually not what a lot of our data is suggesting. You know, you may not actually need more seed. Because, you know, there's always questions like that. We're like that second opinion, or a lot of times we're that like first step when a farmer doesn't know where to turn next. So farm visits are everything I care most about, just because it's interacting with our actual farmers. I think that's something that kind of was neglected a little bit in previous years. Whereas personally, I don't really want to be in the office very often. I prefer to be out with our farmers. So that's definitely something that I personally am emphasizing a lot more. And then our other thing recently, we just got 9 new interns for our Master Gardener class.
Oh, wow.
And then the emphasis, so we're up to 54 for like active Master Gardeners. You know, the Master Gardeners course is supposed to be an extension of like research. They take on more like the horticulture side. So like my background's more agronomy. I'm here for our farmers. And you know, I'll answer horticulture questions by all means, but there'll be anything from like, hey, like why are my backyard tomatoes like this? You know, like what's the disease on this mean? Is there a recommendation for the lawn? So like we're really trying to emphasize like the helpline clinic for the Master Gardeners, and that's kind of a role they can fill. So especially in the summer, I can just do nothing but farm questions. And then lastly, oh yeah, I think we brought up this too, because I think I just finished when I saw you guys the statewide weed survey. It's been a few years since really Portage County and a lot of Northeast Ohio's participate in a lot of those. So there's a little like statewide kind of surveys that we typically have to do, and the Western counties you normally always get it, but the advantage of doing this one, and again, it was just 250 miles around the county. I think I ended up scouting 107 fields of soybean fields that we had, and it was just kind of determine what's the weed pressure. You know, and so that way we can get specific actual recommendations from the state for our farmers. Whereas if you don't participate in the county, they just have to kind of guess what weeds we might be seeing. I think, for instance, we had a lot of red root pigweed was what we were figuring out. So now we can get herbicide recommendations for next season. So like that was a great little like research type thing that we participate in as well that Portage hasn't really done in a few years. And then lastly, I think that was really the bulk of what we were trying to cover. Yeah, soil testing, pesticide training, and then resources for our local farmers, improving crop productivity, and adapting to climate changes and challenges. So that's kind of what we've been up to for the last year.
Cool.
It's been a busy one, but it's been a nice one.
Cool.
I've liked it.
You sound very excited about what you do.
Yeah,
That's fun to
I
hear.
love it. I really love it.
That's cool.
Well, you know, most of the farm stuff I did was here.
Mhm.
I worked like one farm in Aurora, a horse ranch in Manaway, and then another horse ranch one summer in Hiram. So it's like I know a lot of these people too. So it's just nice to kind of, you know, I'm helping them and I'm helping a lot more of them in a totally different way now
Awesome.
than just like, you know, hauling hay for them. But
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Also, Seth, the naturalist program that goes through A&R.
oh, OCBN as well. That's
Yeah.
true. The
Yeah.
Ohio Naturalist Program.
What's a naturalist program?
Yeah, we took over the Ohio, it's OCVN, so it's Ohio Certified Volunteer Naturalist,
Holden Arboretum used to train all the naturalists in our area, and then they stopped doing it and left a real void. So it's always went through Ohio State materials and science. So we picked it up in our county and started teaching it. It gives educated volunteers to our park districts, to the national park, to especially Portage Park District, and we partnered with them on a lot of the training. Jen White was able to step up and help us out in several of our classes. So that's 10 more of them, you know, in our community too, doing volunteer hours.
It
Not
fit
for
really
Ohio
nicely.
State, but for,
Yeah, it fit really nicely
the
with kind of our
community.
target.
What does a naturalist do?
So they're kind of more targeting towards like a lot more like forestry related and kind of like wetlands as well. And then the master gardeners would take on more like the horticulture side, and I'm of course the agriculture side. But so they're kind of more like a lot of really like tree health. I feel like was kind of more the emphasis, and then also
trees, soil,
like
wildlife.
was
Yeah.
the big one that they hit as well. So I think like the non-agriculture, more like natural resources side is what the OCBN program covers.
Yep.
What else?
Well, our
Then we get to the budget.
the fun stuff, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So our budget, not a significant amount of changes on that. Just a little bit of an increase in our educator cost share. And then I think the other one was mileage, which I imagine is probably, you know, just a rate that had an increase that, you know, we need to,
Like the federal rate.
yeah,
I
we
think.
need to cover those
Possibly.
types of things. So, you know, we're really only looking at a $5,000 increase from our initial budget that we're asking for. I know our expenses say that we could potentially spend a little bit more than that 5,000, but we also understand that there's a lot of things that you guys have to fund as well. So, you know, any little bit could help us out. But I guess with that,
We've been supporting our budget as well with
Yes.
collaborations, grant writing.
A lot of grants.
We're,
Yeah.
we're really frugal.
yes,
We are so frugal, so
We appreciate that.
we thought you would, and we thought that you would appreciate our humble little tiny increase, but, because we have been trying to find the money in other places, and
Yeah.
we know that things are going up all over. And our office is no exception, it's getting expensive over there too, but, we're thrilled to have Katie and Seth on board because, and of course Hannah has been with us
You
so
learn a
long,
lot,
it's hard to
Hannah?
think of her
What
as
was
an
that?
Are
intern.
you learning a lot, Hannah?
Oh, every day.
But it's a great team, and we're getting a lot done. So.
It's fun to hear the excitement that you guys have for what you do. That I think that's the coolest thing, and anybody that has a job or a living is to hear the excitement that you had. You look
How-
like
how
you're having
could it
too
not
much
be?
damn time, Seth.
I
Good
don't
time.
know how it could not be. I
He
mean,
whines a lot.
Oh, Jesus. Just like, jeez.
no, it's fun working with kids, building leaders.
Awesome.
It's our next, you know,
Very good.
next
Excellent.
It's our
generation.
future.
absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, why has mileage, traveling, and training reduced so drastically from 23? It was 3,200 in 23, and then it went down to 491, and now it's only projected to be 552. Are they doing more like remote classes or something where there's not travel, or they're
I
not
believe a
enough?
big thing is I am really too lazy to put in my reimbursement.
Aw.
I have not been doing it, and I think if I did, they'd say, whoa, we should have asked for more money for that. But I pick and choose what I can get done. So if I have the time to put it in, I'll put it in, but I don't. Also, we have one less person in 4-H. We had 3 people, I believe, last year at this time. Now we have 3 counting Hannah, but we also ride share a lot. So if we're going out to an event and there's more than one of us, we're not driving separately, we're all driving
Yeah.
together. So we're very mindful of what it costs to do everything.
And probably I would say a little bit of the virtual aspect of things, you know, we can do a lot of things Zooming online,
Yeah.
you know, anymore. I've had a lot of trainings and stuff
Yeah.
that have happened online that I wouldn't.
That is true.
I might have had to drive to Columbus before, but I don't have to now.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank
That's all
you.
we got. Thank you so much, guys.
All right, great. Thank you.
See you.
I'll probably be back next month at the rate I'm going. You know?
Yeah.
Appreciate
Just
your
don't
time.
ask for
Right,
money.
You guys have a great
Thank you.
All right, good seeing
You
you.
guys have a
Thanks.
awesome day.
Bye,
Nice to see you
Michelle.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Jen.
Casa. Or, come on up, guardianship.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
guardianship.
Yep, sorry about that.
We have a nice little.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you folks?
Good, good,
How are you
good.
guys? Good morning.
Yeah, they're going.
Would you like me to ask for
And there's one for you as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Okay. There we go.
So before I start, I believe you all got our packet.
Yes.
And in our packet is a copy of the PowerPoint and also one sheet that's two-sided, an operations overview. And then what's being handed out to you today, I should have included it in the packet. This is our draft budget for 2025. The first column shows what our existing 2024 budget is, and then the second column shows what our proposed 2025 budget is. Yeah, we can either do it as the PDF or the PowerPoint. I didn't know which one you preferred, so.
You would just have to start it at the top there, and then I will bring it up on the screen.
Start a slideshow?
Yes. There we go. Here we go.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I suppose I can just forward them by clicking the mouse or using the
Yes,
clicker?
you can. You can use the clicker if you would like.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for allowing us to come back today. It's been 6 months since we were here in May, and so nice to be with you again. I appreciate the time on your calendar. I know how busy you are this time of year. So let me just review a little bit about what's happened since we were here last. At that time, Portage County had a total of 587 adult guardianship cases. So those are all adult guardianship cases for people over the age of 18 where someone needs a guardian, as opposed to public guardianship cases where the courts either appointed an attorney or our agency because no other family member or agency is willing or able to do it. So in May, there were 68 active public guardianship cases, and today there's 78. That didn't work.
I think you have to turn it on. I had that turned a
Oh,
little early. There's a
Gotcha.
notch,
All right, let me just try this.
but the arrows were close.
There we go. That'll do it. So, back in May, we had already filed 42 guardianship applications based on the referrals we'd received. As of today, we filed a total of 62 applications. We've been serving as the guardian for 35 wards in May. Currently, we've been appointed to serve as the guardian for 49 wards. We have 11 pending guardianship hearings on applications that we've filed, but we haven't had the hearings yet. By the end of the year, we should have those hearings. But we're not going to be appointed as guardian in all of those because after we filed, in 2 cases, family members stepped forward and filed applications who had previously not been willing to do so. And since we're the guardian of last resort, we always encourage the family members to step forward, and then the court will appoint them. So we've been working very hard this year to make sure that we only get appointed in the cases where there's absolutely no one else who's willing or able to do it. So currently we have 78 public guardianship cases. Our wards range in age from 18 to 98. So we cover many generations in the wards we take care of. 41 are men and 37 are women. Over 50% of our wards have some kind of diagnosed mental illness, as I'm sure you would expect based on the experiences we have in this county. 25% are diagnosed with some type of developmental disability, and 36% of our wards have some kind of dementia. We receive guardianship referrals from several community partners, including Adult Protective Services and Coleman Health Services. So this chart tells you all the different community resources that we get our appointments from. We do not take referrals from members of the public. So if, John Doe has a family member, but he doesn't want to be the guardian, he can't call us up and say, hey, I want you to do it. We get our referrals only from our partner agencies so that we know it's genuinely a person in need, genuinely someone who doesn't have anyone else to care for them, and that's why we're the agency of last resort. Last year, from when we started in June of 2023 to present, we've received 67 total guardianship referrals. This chart breaks down who our referrals have been from. Several of the probate court referrals were wards who needed a new guardian, either because their current guardian couldn't perform those duties any longer, or because the court removed that guardian because they failed to perform their duties. So we do receive, I think we've received up to 13 referrals from the probate court since we've been operating. In this picture, we see one of our wards who was referred to us by the juvenile court. Charles was 17 when we became his guardian, shortly after he turned 18. So the court anticipated he was going to turn 18. He needed a guardian, and so Portage DD and the probate court asked us to step up and become his guardian. Since then, we've been very successful in getting into a DD group home where he receives services. He's working on his GED. We've gotten him enrolled with Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities so that he's working on trying to get a job once he completes his GED. So this is one of those success stories where we were able to jump in as soon as he turned 18, working with Portage DD, and to get him the services that he needs, and hopefully to get him on the track for a successful life. Speaking of which, I forgot to introduce Candy Burbick. She's on our board of
Candy.
directors, and she is with Portage DD as an SSA administrator. So we receive our guardianship referrals for several reasons, mostly because of dangerous living conditions, deteriorating mental health, or progressive dementia. But as a result of having a guardian appointed to help them, we're able to help these wards receive the services that they need, whether it's housing, healthcare services, or enrollment in benefits. With our help, these wards are able to find suitable housing. We help them to apply for SSA and food stamp benefits, and we also get them enrolled in healthcare services for medical, dental, vision, and hearing appointments. Once our wards have stable housing and they have stable services, then they're less likely to require hospitalizations or, even worse, to get involved with the criminal justice system. So that's what we're trying to achieve, is stability for these wards. Here's a picture of me with one of our wards who was a client of Portage DD
It went
and
backwards,
Coleman Health.
Diane.
Oh, I'm so sorry, it didn't
Yeah,
click.
it went back.
Uh,
Go one more.
I wonder if they got, oh, I'm so sorry. My bad.
You got missed.
Yeah, my bad. So, oh, come on. That's funny. I'm so sorry, my technology is,
It's okay. Kathy?
I'll just click next slide. Well, that's not working either.
Maybe the picture changed.
Well, there's a warning up there that's not showing on this.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the same slide?
This
It
was
says
a,
loading.
Oh, no, I missed
this was a test for you, Diane.
Is that what it says, loading, the little red thing?
Something about captions and subtitles.
Captions and subtitles.
Huh,
Okay, you're right.
Any luck?
I don't know what it's doing.
What's it
Oh,
say
I see.
now, down there?
She just didn't want our picture up
It's-
there.
yeah, really?
I don't know why it's doing.
We're froze.
We can follow along, Diane, in your.
Sure, if you want, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
Just
okay.
follow along with your handouts.
Yeah.
And we'll just go back to public
No
view
problem.
screen then.
Technology is great when it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, here's a picture of me with one of our wards who's a client of Portage DD and Coleman Health Services. At the time we became her guardian, she had been living for many months at the crisis stabilization unit that Coleman has over here on Lovers Lane, after she had gotten evicted from her apartment in Kent. Once we became her guardian, we were able to find her stable housing, working with Independence for a 4-month respite stay, and now she's been placed in a duplex with another DD roommate in Ravenna. As of this week, we've gotten her enrolled with Portage Industries. So by mid-December, she's gonna get enrolled in a job. She's really excited that now she's got more independence, and this is a real success story for somebody who'd gotten evicted in Kent, had run-ins with police because of altercations with neighbors, and now she's in a happy group home setting and about ready to get a job. So we're very pleased with Wanda's success. So the next page shows a chart where we're compared to the other Ohio GSBs. I know that the commissioners are interested in seeing, you know, how we're ranked in terms of budgets and staffing and things like that. So this shows you a comparison between our GSB agency and the other GSBs in the other Ohio counties. Compared to counties like Delaware, we're operating with fewer staff, a smaller budget, and yet manages more guardianship cases. Fairfield County is similar in size with 5 GSB staff, 129 guardianships, and operating on an annual budget of $410,000. Looking at the next page, this chart shows a comparison of the GSB funding sources for these different agencies. Although our funding for every GSB differs in some regards, every GSB receives some funding support from their county's Board of Mental Health and their county's Developmental Disability Board. 2/3 of the GSBs also receive funding support from their county's JFS agency and Board of Commissioners. And as you can see, our total budget is modest in comparison to the other GSBs. The majority of our funds go to just supporting staff salaries and benefits. We really don't have large expenditures in other areas. Looking at the next page, with county support, we're planning to continue our activities into 2025. As I mentioned, we're currently serving as guardian for 49 adults. 11 appointments are pending. But through our guardianships, these at-risk adults received improved health care, reduced hospitalizations, better medication compliance, and they're at less risk of justice system involvement and homelessness. On the next slide, you'll see what our 2024 funding sources have been. So for this year, we received $94,500 each from mental health and developmental disabilities boards. The commissioners were kind enough to grant us $47,250 when we met with you in May. Jobs and Family Services contributed $34,000 to help support the APS referrals that we have received. And then we received a grant from Direction Home Area Agency on Aging for $10,000, which helps support software fees, social media costs, and also our mileage reimbursements. In addition, we also received generous in-kind contributions from Neighborhood Development Services. They've been generous to supply us with the 3 offices that our staff use. And then the probate court also provides us with our accounting services, courtroom services, IT support, and financial support for the court fees and costs that get incurred when we file our guardianship applications, because most of our wards are indigent and don't have the ability to pay those fees. Going to the next slide, you'll see our proposed 2025 budget, where we've requested a minor increase from Mental Health and Recovery Board and Portage DD of $100,000 each. We gave our presentation to Portage DD's board last evening, and I received an email this morning from John Vanetti indicating that the board appears to be supportive of that increase. Jobs and Family Services has already agreed to the $40,000 that helps support the referral fees for the APS clients that they send to us. And then we're requesting, if the Board of Commissioners can see fit to do so, for a $50,000 support for this year. The monies between JFS and the Board of Commissioners has helped to fund this second case manager that we added in May of last year. And so we're really not adding any staff in the coming year. We think we can manage with what we've got. We're implementing the same 3% COLA increase that the commissioners have adopted for county employees, since our staff are county employees, and our board of directors felt that that was appropriate to adopt as well. But really, the difference between last year and this year is just 3.4%. Looking at the next slide, currently 2/3 of our wards are age 60 or older, and the majority of these wards live in assisted living or nursing home facilities. 1/3 of the wards have been diagnosed with some kind of dementia, and many of these clients are referred to us by Adult Protective Services because they're living in unsafe conditions. So the funding from JFS and the Board of Commissioners has supported the hiring of our second caseworker to help manage these cases, because about 1/3 of our clients have dementia. And although we receive funding from mental health and developmental disabilities to help take care of their clients, we really appreciated the funding support from JFS and the commissioners, because that helps us with the 1/3 of our cases that are the dementia cases. So finally, looking at the last slide, second to last slide. Funding support from our county partners help us to meet the need for these new guardianship appointments in 2025. As I mentioned, we haven't budgeted to hire a new case manager because we believe that we'll be able to manage our caseload with our existing staff. Sadly, because we do have 60% of our cases are elderly, we do have a half dozen clients right now that are on hospice care. And so, and we just lost a client last Sunday. So we know this is going to happen. We're working harder to make sure that family members step up and become guardians so that we don't have to take on those cases. So we're trying to make sure that we keep our caseloads manageable for the coming year. We're also looking to pursue additional funding. We've been talking with the probate court about implementing a fee so that when we do take on a case and our clients have some means that they pay an administrative fee, a flat fee, to help with our startup services for that case management. We're also going to pursue a referral fee, so we got 23 referrals from nursing homes. We don't get any fees from them for that, and we do get fees from our other referral partners. So we're going to probably try and implement a memorandum of understanding with the nursing homes that refer their wards to us to try and get a flat fee referral. This is similar to what Franklin County does, where they get referral fees from hospitals. Obviously, a for-profit hospital gains money from emptying out that bed and being able to take in other patients. So they actually give an $8,500 referral fee to the GSB in Franklin County to be able to take on those guardianship cases. We think we can do a similar approach to nursing homes, obviously not as much of a referral fee, but to help offset the cost of us taking those cases on. So we're looking into that for next year to try and improve our revenue stream. So lastly, couple of pictures. The lady on the left, Jane, and her kitty, Miss Precious Kitty, became wards of us through an APS referral. She and her husband Ron were living in a home in Mantaway where they'd been for over 20 years, but things had just started to get away from them. He had increasing dementia, she had health care issues, and it had gotten to the point where they were in dangerous living conditions, and that's why APS referred them to us. We were able to get them placed in safe housing. We had to work very hard to make sure they could be in the same facility where both their needs could be met. They wouldn't move without their kitty, so we needed to make sure that the nursing facility would take the kitty, and so we were able to achieve that, and now they're doing very well. Their church members come and visit them and take them to their church every once in a while, so they're staying in contact with their old friends. The fellow on the right, Kenneth, is one of our successful DD wards. We became his guardian when the probate court appointed us on an emergency basis because a family member who was his guardian basically abandoned him in the hospital. He'd gone in there to be treated for an issue. When it was time to discharge, they said, "We're not coming to pick him up. He can go to a homeless shelter." And at that point, the social workers at the hospital called the court. The court appointed us the same day on an emergency basis. We were able to get him into temporary housing with Coleman. We were later able to engage him with Portage DD services. The last time he'd had DD services was 10 years prior to that. We got him enrolled in services with Coleman. Now he's living in a DD group home supported by DD providers. He was able to get a job at Taco Bell. He works 20 hours a week. He's very excited about that. They love him there. We were able to get him his own checking account that his wages go into. And with support from his representative payee at Coleman, who helps him to budget, he's helping to manage his own finances, and he's doing extremely well. So here's a kid in his early 30s who was going to be living on the streets, and now he's got his best life, his own job, and he's feeling very independent. So these are the kind of success stories that really make us happy about what we do, and everybody benefits. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
I'm
for your
happy to
information.
answer any
Very
questions that you
nice,
have.
thank you.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
and thank you.
Thank you both for
all
coming in.
guys
Do you have
do.
anything to say?
I just wanna say Diana's done a great job, you know,
Yeah.
growing the program over the last year, hired some great staff. And as a Portage DD supervisor, you know, when we make referrals, there's no wait list, the process goes smoothly. So, I mean, it is a benefit to the community that we're in, so.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good job, Diane.
Thank you very
Good
much.
job.
Okay.
Thank
Have a
you
great
for
day.
coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Yes.
As well. Jackie, I believe. You're up, Jackie.
Morning.
Good morning.
It's gonna work, so maybe I have a brief overview of our resources versus requests. That way we can, you know, do a recap here and see what we're looking at for budget. So I had a slideshow, but I don't think it's gonna work. So thank you. The paper copies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you wanna give it a shot, go ahead. I got it.
There's a copy for you.
Morning, Miss Shannon.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Perfect.
She just snuck in here
She
really
did.
quiet,
She did.
which is kind of
That's
scary.
unusual.
Very unusual. Scary, actually.
Here's a sneaker.
I think I got.
You did.
Yeah,
Yep.
it had to be rebooted here.
I will try. This one. Yeah,
There we go.
okay. All right. So I just wanted to do an overview of our resources that we have and then the department requests. So we're all kind of on the same page as far as what we have to work with, going into 2025. Okay, so estimated resources. At tax budget time, we projected the cash carryover at 10.6 million going into 2025. The reason we came up with that number is because we factored what our cash carryover was minus the commitments that we've made. So if all of those commitments came due, then it would be about 12 million maybe that we would have available. So we conservatively estimated that we would carry over 10.6.
Because I was gonna say, I thought it was between 12 and 13, but now that makes sense, you've subtracted out what we.
And yeah,
okay.
just to not over certify, like we didn't wanna get to a point where if we projected 12 and it came in at 11, then we'd have to start cutting budgets. So we
Yeah.
don't wanna do that. Having a little bit extra is better than not having enough. So that we estimated the resources at tax budget time of approximately 57.5 million. So our total estimated resources that we have to allocate in 2025 right now is $68,270,285. The department requests that came in for appropriations budgets were $80,017,346.37.
How does that compare to last year's requests?
As far as the number of requests or the dollar amount, I'd have to look at that, but we had about, I think like a $4 million gap that we had to close. This is obviously
what I
quite
thought it
higher,
was,
Yeah, it's
so,
way substantially more.
yeah, so we had, my department had an $11.7 million gap that we had to close. So this was the original deficit, and DBFM has worked to close this deficit, and so I just kind of wanted to lay the foundation as to why we have to cut in certain areas, because this has to be balanced by
Yeah.
December. So let's see, next slide here. So the balancing process, this was our approach, is we projected out what we were gonna spend in 2024 across all departments. Then we took that projection and added the reasonable increases that we know are going to come to get what we think 2025 should be. So the increases we factored in were step increases for salaries, the corresponding benefits increases, and then any known programmatic increases. So if we could foresee increases in fees or mandated share, insurance, things like that that we know are gonna go up, then we factored that in. Then we took our projection, the 2025 that DBFM estimated, and then the difference with the department. So we compared the two, and then those differences was the foundation for the conversation with departments as to where, if we could come to a common ground, in areas that we could decrease. So that was the initial process, and then there were certain budget reductions just across departments, just so that we could, attempt to get balance. So the initial, across the board reductions that we did, any wage increases that looked like they were beyond the step increases. So each department, we calculated what the step increases would cost. If it was in excess of that, then we reduced that. Also, for those that are not on the scale, those departments, if they requested anything more than the 1.25% that the board approved, we reduced that. Any benefits that were estimated higher than the needs, so a lot of departments overestimated health benefits. I think they thought there was gonna be an increase, but when we realized there wasn't going to be an increase, we were able to reduce that out.
Could you go back to the one you were just before,
Mhm.
with the step increases for the personnel? How many of the departments that we have that chose not to do our pay scale?
Wage study.
Like how many departments are
how many
there?
departments are there that don't do that?
I think it's 5 or 6, but I'd have to get back to you.
Cause
with the
I know
exact
there's
number.
one here today that,
Yeah,
wants.
the Board of Election
yeah.
wants 9,400 for bonuses.
Yeah, so that's another point. we, like DBFM removed bonuses because, the board had previously, I believe, decided that
Yeah.
additional bonuses were not something that you wanted to fund, so, so we removed, there were a couple departments that put in bonuses that we removed. And then payouts, we reduced by 50%, that way there's something in the budget line in case there is a payout, but, and we can supplement that in the future if we need to, but some of the payouts were budgeted fairly high, and it's not a critical item at this time. So that's retirement payouts, vacation payouts, sick leave conversions. We'll know what that number is well into next year, so we can kind of deal with that next year, but as far as balancing right now, you know, it was an area where we could pull from. Large furniture requests, we have worked with departments to postpone those into next year. So it's not in the budget this year, because there were some lump sums that were causing that deficit to be higher. So if we could take those out, we lower the deficit, and then we could look at funding those in 2025, like later on when we see what the carryover is. And then there were also some budget adjustments due to some larger billing changes. So the vehicle costs are gonna be paid for by DBFM next year. So anything for leases, automobiles, gasoline, and vehicle maintenance and repairs, all of that was moved to DBFM. So that was pulled out of the department budget because they won't be paying that bill, we will.
Yeah. And is Jerry the one that will?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we, you know, the budget kind of followed where the bill's gonna be paid.
Okay.
Insurance claims will be paid for by DBFM or commissioners next year, so anywhere that departments had budgeted for any insurance claims, we took that out. And then the telephones are, I think, mostly gonna be paid for by IT next year, so anyone that has a telephone budget, you know, same thing, correspondingly, we decrease the budget in the department and put that into IT so they can pay the bill. So those were
It's
just.
still the same, you've just reallocated it to a
We've just
different
moved the
department.
budget to the place where the
Okay.
bill's gonna be paid. Okay, so, let's see here. This is the result, currently that we have right now, so, this is, the left column shows the 2025 projection based on, what we were saying our method was to take the 2024 and add, where we think the increases will be. The green column is the 2025 DBFM proposal, and as you can see, the bottom line is 68, 269, 968, and 11 cents, so that's in balance at this point. But there are still a few department requests that are different than that are over that. I would like to say the departments have worked with us really well. So the far right column, anywhere you see a 0, that represents a department that worked with us, that met with us and discussed their needs versus what we were looking at, and we came to a common ground so that our request matches their request. So as you can see, the prosecutor's office, who presented today, that there's still a difference there because of those positions. I do have to say the sheriff's department, I have to meet with them yet, so I'm meeting with Ron Ross tomorrow. So hopefully we will meet and we can come together on those amounts. And then the Board of Elections amount, that amount is still outstanding. But that $2 million for Board of Elections includes their equipment. So if
That's
you take
1.5 million, isn't
right,
it?
so that'll be funded by contingency, so if you take that out, it's about $507,000 additional.
But now what are they gonna be able to pay towards? Cause they have that account, I thought, that the chargebacks go to.
So I think out of our contingency, it'll be $1,230,000 because they have $271,000 in that
So they're
set aside
offsetting
fund. So we'll take it out of the set aside fund first, and then whatever the balance is, we'll take out of our contingency.
Yeah, cause we signed a letter to Congressman Joyce, or we will today. They're talking about, Congress putting in, I think it's like 75 million in their budget, to support, the election, investments in the elections, but 75 million across the country is not a lot. That's my only thing, but some's better than none, but
And
I don't know
there
if the
have,
state will be willing to.
there has been a lot of grant support for elections in the
Mhm.
past few years, I've noticed, so, I think a lot of the areas we could be more conservative in their budget and then see what grants come in, and then
Yeah.
if we don't get grants, then address supplementing, but, put a baseline budget in.
Yeah.
And then, but I do foresee more grants coming to them, so.
Yeah.
So they will have support, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, so the next slide, I just wanna share like the whole picture of resources. So I thought we should look at carryover also, or potential carryover. So this is an estimate. Okay, so the other page was our certified resources and budget. This hasn't been certified yet, but potentially will be our cash carryover. So the cash carryover, if it comes in around 15 to 16 million, which I think right now that's what we're projecting, because a lot of our obligations that we've committed to haven't hit the books yet. So there's a lot of things sitting out there that haven't been encumbered. So if we carry over 15 to 16 million, and then you add our certified estimated resources at 57.5, then the total certification we would have to work with going into 2025, like around February, that would be certified, would be 73.5 million. If you deduct the appropriations out of that, of 68.2, that would leave roughly 5.2 million available, so that would be extra, that we would have to work with. However, we have to factor in the things that we've committed to, so that's this sub list down here. These are the things that we've committed to that haven't been encumbered yet.
So really, the only thing that's unappropriated is around 200,000.
Right,
Because
and-
we've already committed.
Yeah, and these are all estimates right now, so if the carryover comes in higher, then we have a little more to work with. And I believe most of these things we've committed to, they're estimates, but they're fairly close to what the expense will be. So I just wanted to make sure we have the full picture of the resources, that way, we can see what the balances in it are in all areas, and that way, when we're factoring the requests that have come forward today, we can see like what we have to work with. As you can see, like right now, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room projected.
And we don't have anything in there for that 11th District Court of Appeals, which.
Yeah, cause I don't even know, I'm not sure where to begin estimating that, like they really haven't said.
We asked our judge when he was in here, but he didn't seem to really have
Any
an
guidance.
ideal at that point in time.
That's kinda why I'm leaving that in the gray, cause we have to bear that in mind, but I don't know how much that's gonna be, so.
This public defender's office, is that the approximate amount prior to any reimbursement from the state?
Yes, and so Shannon and I are kinda working on that as far as, can we encumber it a little at a time? I think contractors like to have the full PO in place before they start work. But if we could encumber it a piece at a time and then get reimbursed, maybe we could not encumber that all at once, but we're kind
I
of.
could work it out, like I
Yeah,
could just
work
have
it
the contract go through to the contractor and then work with Jackie to figure that out.
And do you know what the reimbursement rate is? Because it's dropped since this originally
It's-
came in.
Yeah, it's below 80% now.
Mhm.
I
I
just
thought
don't
they
know how
said
much.
60 to 70. I don't think they gave us
Exactly.
Number yet?
Yeah, I don't have an exact, but I know it's
I
below the
think I'll look at it.
80% that it was.
look it up, will you?
Oh, yeah. I'll Google it. How about that? I'll Google it. Okay.
So that's the worst case scenario when that's posted the way you have it.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure what
Yeah,
wiggle room we would have with
we
the
don't-
contractor.
Yeah, we don't know what's coming in, so.
Worst case, worst well.
So, yeah, so this is the full picture of what we've got going on, and then the DBFM proposal, in that green column, on the previous slide. if the board approves anything different than that, if anything in addition, we would have to reduce it out of somewhere else to get it balanced, yeah. Again, I have to work with the sheriff's office still. I think we'll be able to work on that tomorrow. So the ones outstanding are, right now, are prosecutor and board of elections.
So do for me again, the Board of Elections at 2 million over.
So that, as far as I'm concerned, like the 1.5 million, we can take out now, because we are funding that, just in a, different area.
Direction, okay.
But there's, then that leaves 507,000 still additional that has been
So
requested.
they just presented today, and I'm not sure I see what they presented in the 500,000.
So, let's see,
Well, that includes, actually, it's quite a bit. That contract was 5,000?
500,000 though, I mean, we're,
And then, well, they got the rate, or the
7%
wage increases.
and
And then the
the benefits on
6%.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, election worker salaries, I heard what they were saying, but I looked at the history in Munis, and I think that is typically grant funded. So again, they've requested over $200,000. I think a good baseline number might be 50,000 to help fund an election, but then if grants come in, there's an amount there, there's nothing there, but then as grants come in, we could readjust. Because typically, I looked at the past few years, and it's typically under 10 to 15,000 that we actually fund for election workers. So, and I know it's grants, but it just gives us some flexibility right now to get the budget in balance.
I just looked up the Ohio Department of Public Defenders. They're estimating, and again, it all depends on how much, each 88 counties turn in for their request. They're estimating it to be about 78%.
Wow,
it's better than we thought.
that's good.
So,
I'll take it.
yeah, but, yep, 78.
Okay.
Well, thank you for taking the time to look that up, ma'am.
I'm on
So that'll
it.
speed that up.
I'm on it.
So that $2 million is take 1.5 away, we have another 500,000. And you're saying that that's relatively, in your mind, that's relatively to whittle that down to less than 100,000 almost.
So yeah, I think if we went by actuals, we could whittle that down, and then if they would need a supplement later in the year, we could look at that. We could adjust within their budget, and then if they absolutely need a supplement, we could look at that. But a lot of the things, there's a lot of things that are grant supported for elections now. So we might budget 200,000, but then like this year, it looks like we spent maybe 3,000 because the rest was supplemented by grants. So I think we could budget lower than that to get the budget in balance, and it would still be enough for them. There's kind of a lot of that, that goes on within their budget because of the grants.
I'm having a hard time with that one, with not looking at counties, pretty much negating counties our size and what they're getting paid. And the argument that they had is, unfortunately, everybody's being hit with inflation, getting everybody. And that argument can be made across every one of our departments.
And it's hard to determine, for those that aren't on the wage scale, it's hard to determine an amount, because for those of us that are on the wage scale, as you go up higher and higher in the wage scale, it's around 1 to 2% for those of us that are on the scale, so that's the challenge.
Yeah, because when I did 78% of that, that comes out to 1,248,000 that we could get reimbursed. So that leaves us like a balance of 300 and some thousand that we would have to pay instead of 1.6. If that's what.
And if we can like we
The
said, like
reimbursement rates.
encumber it in pieces maybe, you know, maybe we could do that. I mean, that would be a method, a
Yeah.
workable method to save.
Yeah, it's 352,000.
Nice job, Jackie.
Yeah,
you.
it tells the story well, thanks.
Thank you. I hope this helps
It does,
for
very much so.
consideration.
We do, like Sabrina said, we do have to figure out, I thought that Judge Eklund was gonna get us some information on that, and I have not seen that.
No.
He hasn't sent it.
But I'd like to have some kind of an idea as to where we are
Well,
with
yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And it's spread out over 5 counties, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to make a decision when,
We don't have all
There's-
the information.
right, we don't have an amount.
Well, we could go on the premise of out of sight, out of mind. If they, we don't call, they don't call.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that might make things easier, but.
Might.
For now.
Let's give it a whirl.
Cassidy.
Are you finished with your PowerPoint, Jay?
Yes.
So we're cutting you off.
Okay.
Are you done?
Finished?
Done yet?
Okay, then.
Guess so. The hook's coming.
So am I ready to start resolutions and journal entries? Is there any other questions?
No, Jackie, thank you very much. Put a pretty clear picture for us.
Going for it.
Go for it.
All right, I'll make a motion. The Board of Commissioners authorizes Commissioner Anthony J. Badalamenti, President of the Board, to sign the commercial debt modification agreement for loan number PCE D0052 in the amount of $500,000 as requested by Neighborhood Development Services and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second,
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion the Board of Commissioners sign the partial release of mortgage for the property at 304 Washington Street, Ravenna, Ohio, 44266 as part of Portage Housing 2 Limited Partnership as requested by Neighborhood Development Services, documents reviewed by the Department of Budget and Finance with no exceptions noted.
Second,
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion the Board of Commissioners sign the partial release of mortgage for the property at 9060 Maple Grove Road, Wyndham, 44288 as part of Portage Housing 2 Limited Partnership.
Second.
Roll call.
Oh, as requested by Neighborhood Development
I thought you were
Services.
done.
Documents reviewed by the Department of Budget and Finance with no exceptions noted.
We'll go roll call again.
Yeah,
Sabrina?
I had to flip my page. Patience. Yes.
I have none.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
All right, I'm ready to start, guys.
Okay,
Good.
do
In
it.
accordance with section 305.30K of the Ohio Revised Code and this board's resolution 21-0396 and this board's resolution 21-0878, the Board of Commissioners acknowledges and approves the county administrator's approval too. I'll make a motion to direct the auditor's office to pay process the November 14th, 2024 bills, ACH payments, wires, journal vouchers, and then announce as applicable contingent upon the verification of the reports as presented by the county auditor and reviewed by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second,
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to process the November 14th, 2024 budget amendments as reviewed and recommended by the Department of Budget and Financial Management.
Second,
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to amend Resolution 24-0403 adopted July 11th, 2024, authorizing American Rescue Plan Act fund expenditures for project WTR 02/23070.
Second,
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to amend Resolution 24-0618, directing a portion of the county's coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund payment to the county's COVID-19 response, authorizing American Rescue Plan Act fund expenditures for BBRK.
One.
One.
Second,
Roll call.
Bolingbrook. 1.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to rescind Resolution 24-0592 to transfer from Fund 1201 Motor Vehicle and Gas Tax to Fund 4251 Ravenna Road Bridge Replacement.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to transfer from Fund 1001, Certificate of Title Administration Fund to Fund 0001, General Fund.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
Jackie.
you.
Thanks again.
Shannon, good morning.
Good morning again.
I don't have a ton, but I have some.
Can they put those slate on there when the weather's like this?
They have been.
I was looking this morning to see.
They're doing it even on weekends now because I
It's
think they're
like
getting nervous.
dangerous. I know, they were out there Sunday, I was
Mhm.
watching them, and I'm like, it was raining, I'm like,
I
slate
said, "Are
is
you sure you're gonna
slippery."
have that done in December?" And they're like, "We'll let you know."
The weather's been good for
Makes me
them.
a little bit nervous, but
It's supposed to get nice though. right?
yeah.
For this time of year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you're gonna have to skip all the way to page 5. And it is for the juvenile court that started on page 3. It's a very
Can
long
we
one,
get,
and it's complete.
Occupancy?
We got occupancy.
Yeah, that's
We're good to go. So that will come off here, making a very short little list.
It's all right.
And then if you go to the Ravenna Courthouse, Judge Pittman's lobby, that should be done by next Tuesday.
Wow.
And she was fine with that. She's very happy with that. I just went
Yeah.
up there and it looks really good, actually. Page 6, the riddle block the roof. The west side is complete. I saw little peaks though that weren't, but they
Mhm.
said it was complete. 40% of the slate is up.
Wow.
So, but they're still telling me December,
It's a big
the
roof.
end of December, so. But they're doing it because it's such small, tedious work, so it just takes a while. So I just said, if it takes till January, okay, but it's getting finished, so. And then, the public defender, we decided on a date. It's going out to bid on December 27th with bids due January 22nd.
Oh, good.
Yep, and then I have a question for the board. For next year, are we still good with this format? Do you guys still like the way I do these?
I do.
I think it's great.
You guys like these still? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, well, maybe I'll change something, so I didn't know. Okay,
No, I like it.
okay, good.
And I like being able to see the prior notes and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I like too. Okay, and then I just have some resolutions and that's it.
All right. I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners agrees to amend resolution number 24-0272 adopted May 2nd, 2024, to enter into a service agreement with Portage County Maintenance Department in Northeast Ohio Security and Electronic Solutions LLC.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners agrees to amend resolution number 24-0643 regarding accept and award the bids for the purchase of various chemicals for the Portage County Water Resources Department.
Second.
Sabrina?
Roll call.
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
The Board of
Yes.
Commissioners authorizes Portage County to enter into a water service agreement with the City of Talent.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Make a motion, the Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into an agreement for prevention, retention, and contingency family support services with Portage County Jobs and Family Services and Portage County Health District.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
The Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into a lease agreement for copier equipment and maintenance for the Portage County Jobs and Family Services and DEX Imaging.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
The Board of Commissioners agrees to enter into an agreement with Green Star Mid-America LLC for processing services for the Portage County Solid Waste District.
Second.
Roll call.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes. Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Hey Shannon, thanks a lot.
Hey, yeah, thanks, no problem.
Now get out.
Okay.
What?
Hi, Kelly Jo.
Morning. I come with friends.
All right.
All right, come on
Morning.
in.
Morning.
Mr. Boyd, you can sit here.
Okay. She's just being nice.
She is.
always
She's always nice.
What the heck?
I am always
She
nice.
is.
The seat.
All right, you're up, Kelly Jo.
All right. I just would like to start by acknowledging Mr. Brian Boykin. He is currently our JFS Assistant Director, and he's been with our team for 24 years. And December's his last month of employment with JFS, and I just
Wow.
wanted to thank him on behalf of the 187 employees for your servant leadership and all that you do. And a couple of his
team members that he's worked intimately with are here today to congratulate him. And it's my understanding you have a proclamation
Yes,
to read on his behalf.
I'd like to start right there. We'd love to. All right. Proclamation honoring Brian Boykin, Portage County Jobs and Family Services. Whereas Brian Boykin has diligently served the citizens of Portage County since September 4th of 2000, when he began working for Portage County Jobs and Family Services as a youth service coordinator. During his tenure with Jobs and Family Services, Brian has also served as the agency's workforce administrator and assistant director. And whereas Brian is retiring with 24 years of service in Portage County Jobs and Family Services, Brian is a lifelong resident of Portage County and has always been committed to serve leadership and provide excellent customer service to residents of Portage County.
And whereas Brian helped to build collaborative community partner relationships in the areas of workforce, community corrections, and fatherhood initiatives, and whereas Brian Boykin has served as the agency's civil rights coordinator for over a decade. Brian has made it routine practice to check in with all of the team members of Jobs and Family Services, recognize their dedication and commitment to their work in human services, and whereas
Brian's career at Job and Family Services has been dedicated to making a difference in the lives of those we serve and supporting initiatives that grow the Portage County community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Portage County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize Brian Boykin for his dedication and invaluable service to Portage County residents over the past 24 years of servant leadership, and proudly proclaims Tuesday, December 31st, 2024 as Brian Boykin Day. Signed by
You wanna get a picture, Brian? You wanna come
Come on
up
up here,
here?
sir. Kelly Jo, if you.
You guys want to get in a picture? You're welcome if you'd like to.
Yeah. Move everything out here. You go first, Brian. I was hoping to take a picture.
We have others. Can I stand by?
Come on over here.
All right.
Come on over here.
Where am I gonna squeeze in? By I don't know if there's. I know. There we go.
Hello.
Ready? Okay, got it.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
I just retired and I can't figure out how to do this.
And he didn't get a proclamation.
I did not.
He's trying.
My office did not.
Trying.
Gosh, I never even thought of that.
I told you.
Jeez.
You got nothing.
So I just have a few more open agenda items, and I'll be respectful of your time. I present to you, and it says August, September, but it's September, October data report. So that was an oversight on my part, on our part. But as it relates to our public assistance division, I have not seen any significant changes in any of our programs or services that I would want to highlight for you. In our Ohio Means Jobs and our workforce program, I do not see any changes there other than we're seeing an increase in our connections referrals. And that program is a program where obligors of child support with our child support division are referred over to Ohio Means Jobs to connect them to training and employment opportunities. So we're doing more work in that space, and that's pretty exciting. As it relates to workforce numbers and CCMEP, I don't see much of a shift there, but our Benefit Bridge program continues to prove to be successful, and we're so proud that we have that pilot program. Carly Spencer is the administrator of that division, so instead of me giving you a highlight, Carly's going to share a success story with all of you today.
Come on
Very
up,
good.
Carly.
Come on, Carly.
Oh, I
Come on
see.
up.
You didn't think you were gonna get
I told her
somebody
you
here.
stay
She
in the
told me
goalie.
to sit. Okay.
Sit.
Okay, so
Stay.
forgive me for reading off the paper. I'm not good
That's
at
right.
No, you're
at
okay.
impromptu.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Carly.
So before enrolling in the Benefit Bridge program, this participant was living in a sober living facility. She completed all requirements and was able to move into her own apartment with 2 children. She began working at a treatment facility that offers detox services, care coordination, and long-term recovery planning. Her starting wage was $14.50, 30 hours per week. She has since received 2 raises and is currently making $18.50 an hour, working 40 hours a week as a peer recovery supporter, and has maintained her employment with the same employer. She is enrolled in classes to obtain her CDCA certification and has purchased a used car so as not to rely on the public transportation for her and her children's transportation needs. I won't go over all of the incentives that she has received, but just to highlight a couple, for starting childcare, she's received an incentive for that, so getting her children enrolled in childcare. Car insurance, there's an incentive attached to that. Transportation, the fact that she has her own transportation, we kick her a nice financial incentive for that as well. And then vehicle repair, something as simple as tires and batteries, we can incentivize for that as well. So it just goes to show just how wonderful the Benefit Bridge program is, and the success that we're having with it. It's a wonderful program.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Then I'll pivot to,
I don't know if we have a public.
Okay, one moment.
pause, sure.
And is there anybody here for public comment? We already done the one?
Yes.
Hearing none, we will continue. Kelly Jo, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Child and Adult Protective Services. We just wanted to publicly acknowledge the Portage County residents and the voters. Because of them, we were able to pass our levy in 2025. It's gonna look really great for the kids entrusted in our care. Our numbers continue to be very stable, around 130, which is still a decline, although our placement crisis and those costs have not decreased. We continue to find creative solutions to meet the needs of our kids with highest needs. I'm kind of toggling between, because you see a flyer that was there this week. We collaborated with Open Arms Adoption, CASA, Judge Smith and her team, and then JFS. And we highlighted The Sound of Hope. It's a movie about the profound difference that adoption makes in the lives of children. It's my understanding, I didn't get to go to the screening, that 100 people showed up for that free screening. I went, it was good. Yeah, November is National Adoption Month, and I'm so ecstatic to report that we have finalized 14 adoptions in 2024.
Wow.
We have a 15th in December, and so while it's always our goal to reunify kids and families that come into our system, there are unfortunately some times where reunification isn't possible, and we absolutely celebrate the families that have created permanent homes for kids that can't transition back to their biological family. So it's just a great collaborative, and I just wanted to acknowledge all the partners in that space. So that, really, we end the month with 187 employees, and so that's good as far as workforce for JFS is concerned. And that really does tackle my 1, 2, and 3 open agenda items. And then I just have a donation resolution.
Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly Jo. I'll make a motion, the Board of Commissioners agrees to declare obsolete and authorize the donation of Portage County Jobs and Family Services property to Portage County offices and Portage County Social Service Agency.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly Jo.
Thank you
Brian,
for having us.
congratulations. sir.
Congratulations,
Nice to meet you,
Brian.
ladies.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
You too.
Happy holidays.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Hi, Mayor. Hello. How are you? How come you're here today to see us?
I think we share some concerns, and I wanted to be.
Okay.
Come to the horse's mouth.
I've been called worse.
That's him.
All right. Michelle, do you have anything, County Administrator?
Nope, we already did her.
Okay, you
I think
did
we're
that.
next
And
to
Judge
Judge.
Stiletto, come on up, please. Morning, Judge.
Morning, how are you?
Good.
Toasty in here, it's nice.
It's a
Nice.
little chilly out there today.
Not bad, not bad, I won't complain. Snow stopped flying. So thank you for your time this morning. I don't anticipate I'll be here very long. I did want to get back to you all. You had given me an option, 2 options last week. I'd like to think that the first option, we're kind of at the point where we're maybe not needing to have any more conversation because it may not be an option that would afford, I think, what you're looking for and the needs of the court and the community. So I kind of looked at option 2 and presented an alternative to option 2. I think I had sent that up on Tuesday of this week. The alternative would be, since we are now kind of looking at the concept of, I guess you are looking at the concept of creating a structure that would house probate and domestic. I did speak with Judge Smith after our meeting, and she asked me to, and I will represent that she is fine in her space in probate court. She had made some requests of the commissioners to renovate the space for the clerk and the court. The space being okay with the renovations, that expenditure was made, those renovations are done, so she is not actively seeking to move out of her space because her space works for her. So I did want to make that representation. However, she has authorized me to indicate that she's not opposed to relocating out of the main courthouse, and being housed in a building with domestic relations. We'd actually talked about that back in 2021 before her funding was previously approved. So she's still willing to do that, as am I. So I had presented an alternative to option 2, which is constructing a building that would house domestic and probate on the green space. And I guess I should try to figure out a better way to keep referencing this particular piece of ground, but it's keeping
GPS? I'm sorry.
keeping the courts in downtown Ravenna. The proposal that you all had given me during our meeting last week was creating that structure out on Infirmary Road. And after talking with Judge Smith, hearing some of her concerns and my concerns, I did present this alternative, raising joint concerns with the relocation of the court to Infirmary, and joint thoughts on the benefits of keeping it downtown. I'm not gonna, I don't need to necessarily get into a lot of detail. It's all spelled out for you. We own the land. There's no change in the statute that's necessary. To be quite honest with you folks, it's accessible to litigants in the community, which is a big concern for both Judge Smith and myself. There should be sufficient parking without having to build new. It's the access to other governmental agencies and buildings and offices would be facilitated if we stay downtown. And most importantly, we don't have a negative impact on downtown businesses. Judge Smith and I are both very cognizant of the fact that between our 2 courts, her clerk and the clerks that service the domestic court, I think there's about 25 people, maybe a few more. So that's a large amount of payroll that would move and a large amount of business. That doesn't even talk about the business that is given the patronage, if you will, to downtown businesses based upon the litigants and lawyers that come through our courts. So I wanted to give you this alternative. I wanted to present myself here today, still willing to have conversation to solve this problem. And if you had any questions for me, I'd be happy to entertain them.
No, I appreciate your other suggestion. Question?
I have a comment. I started doing some research after your last attendance. And I did notice that this conversation kind of started taking place in 2019 in reference to things that needed to change within the court. As I continued to look, as we go on 6 years of looking at this, and I feel that I wasn't here, but I feel at that time nothing was really done or presented by what I could see in minutes.
Presented by?
The commissioners.
Okay.
To any type of resolution. As I continued to look through, it was just a lot of talk, and nothing's been done. No money was moved or set aside or preserved to have something done and taken care of. I did again attend an open day of your court by sitting in the hall and watching people come to and fro, and the carpet's kind of worn out. It's pretty busy there. As a sitting commissioner, I have an obligation to make this statement, and I'm going to make it. We have to look forward as to what we're going to do, and not sit here and say, we're gonna do something, and then 6 years later, we're back here again, wondering, what are we gonna do? So I have personally started some research on my own to see if there is any help out there to assist us in the payment of trying to get something done. Obviously, your information has been everything that has fallen on the research that has been done by consultants, local attorneys, and residents for that matter. And I think I'm past that point of, we'll look into it. But I don't really think that we are giving it our best. So I have started looking into it. Now, I know that Tony and I have looked, and I know Sabrina has looked at existing buildings, and I think that ship sailed. There's nothing out there for us to future on. So I am going to continue what I'm doing now, and I want to see if there's any money out there available to do what we want to do. And we have to get moving on this. If you have a leak in your roof and you just keep saying, I'm going to get it fixed, I'm going to get it fixed, until the day that it falls in. I'm past that point. Not blaming anybody else that's sat up here, not my style, but we do have to fix something. It's something that hasn't been looked at hard. It's been looked at, we've all looked at it, but we need to move forward. And I'm not looking for anything other than to acknowledge what I've seen of what you presented, and that I am moving forward to try to make something happen to get this repaired. And I don't mean a trailer in the backyard.
Need a few of them.
Couple, stack them. Those containers are starting to
Double
make,
wides.
you know, they're starting to make houses out of them. But that's my comment to you.
Thank you. It is much appreciated.
Very well.
Any other questions? Do
No,
you
ma'am.
need anything further from me in regard to background information or statistics?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
We know there's a need. Thank you, Judge.
thank you. You all have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
You too.
Mayor, could we address what you're here for?
Well, I'm here for what you just talked about,
Okay.
about that, and just encourage you to keep it in town, with that. Some other opportunities may be opening. The proximity wouldn't be right here, but as you're well aware, our schools are having a serious problem financially. And their enrollment is down to about 1,700 kids, and used to run close to 3,000. They, in order to streamline, which they have to do, with the state's being a part of it, they're gonna be closing 2 buildings, I believe. I get this information because my wife's on the school board. This has not been discussed anywhere else, but the 2 buildings that she thinks are gonna be closed are West Main and the kindergarten building at West Park. And they're gonna be moving kids around, and it looks like there's a good chance the high school's gonna look like it did when I went to high school there as a 7th grader. The high school maybe become 7 through 12 with that. But I think that if they close these buildings, that they'll be, if they can't lease them or do something with them, they become a problem. When buildings are empty, it's not a good thing. It's a possibility, and I know your needs, and I know you're cramped. I mean, I see it every I know you've been faithful in trying to get this taken care of, and I'm not here to, I'm here to work with you guys. I appreciate everything that you do for us. I try to give some reciprocity back by working with regional planning, and on their board, with it. And we also use regional planning, to provide some income, to that group so they can continue. That if we have a place that we can use them, we do that. So my concern is that if, it isn't if, you have to do something, and I understand that. But I would hope that we would keep that in town. It would be a major hit for us in terms of finances. We had a meeting yesterday. This is Tammy, she's our finance director.
Hi, Tammy.
Tammy Lawrence. And we met with a lady who does our bond ratings, and we had a serious issue when I took over. The bond did not start with an A, it started with a B, which means you can't get money anywhere. With that, but we've worked hard, and we're up to what, a triple A1 at this point in time, and they gave us a double jump with the last thing, which the lady tells us she's never seen them do that. We try to be financially responsible, but we're small when you start thinking about what you guys have to handle here and plan for with that, and I appreciate that. But if there's, and I know part of the holdup is that we have not moved on getting things going, and that was our reason for meeting with the lady with the bonds, to see what's the best way to borrow the money in order for us to get the safety buildings in on the property where the old high school was. And I know that Mr. Finney, our engineer, is anxious to, he moves faster than I do. But it's not a mistake that we're in good financial shape because I take my time. This is on a track to be presented. The other thing that we did not work on this for this election that we just had, because we thought the school was in worse shape than we were, and they needed an opportunity to go to the voters. And they got more votes than they ever had, it just wasn't enough. But they feel they can pass it in the next election, because it won't be a presidential election, and they can get their people out. They were told that they got 3,200 votes that they'd win. Well, they got 38 and they didn't win with that. So, but they've learned a lot. But the other thing is they're gonna be in talking to council about asking us to wait for the fall election. And if we do that, we almost have, the paperwork needs to be turned in February, which is, you know, you turn your head and it's here with that. And we might be forced to wait till that point anyways at this time, but there's a lot of us jockeying position, trying to stay financially sound, but address the problems. And I didn't come to inhibit that. That's that needs to be resolved. I am grateful. You folks have been very supportive of what we're doing, and we're really trying to beautify the city and draw more people downtown. And I'm fortunate, I think you guys probably are too, the same way. I've got good people, and good people make me look good. And I was fortunate in the school system. I had good people and everybody thought I was a genius. Your genius comes in hiring, with that, so I don't wanna belabor this, I think you understand where I'm at and why I came to this.
Appreciate you coming in today, Mayor.
Good seeing you, thank you.
I appreciate you coming in today.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. All right, thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. All right, is there anything else to come for the board? All right,
And just a reminder that next week we're meeting on Tuesday instead of Thursday for obvious reasons.
And public comment is at 10.
And public comments at 10. And I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sabrina?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for
Do we
your.
have the veterans up here?
I will
recap a little bit. Yeah, they were supposed to be here at 11:15.
No, nobody's out.
No one's on there.